Okay, hello friends. Okay, today I'm gonna do another one of my videos. With some of my crude drawings here. Which I'm not apologizing for my drawings at all. I like my drawings. As wonky as they are, I like them because they do get the point across. I'll say right in the beginning, the only mistake on this that I just want to point out is that this moon should be switched over. This dark side should be over here, and I'll get to that. So basically my point is right here with this video is that I want to prove, although I'm not disputing that that the moon's light, okay, is cold. I'm not disputing that at all. I believe there's other things going on that we simply don't understand. And although the moon's light is cold, and like they say, the moon's light, especially the light that shines down on us, couldn't possibly be reflected sunlight from, from a ball, sun onto a sphere. Okay, great. But that being said, and I think that some people will agree with me, especially those that observe the moon and sun all the time, daily, like I do, and have been ever since I started this whole little thing here. And basically, what we've come down to, what we've come up with, what I've come up with, is that the shiny side of the moon that you see, the white side of the moon, in the phases of the moon, are indeed sun shining onto it, and I think it really is a shadow effect. I believe that the moon and sun are like semi-transparent, semi-translucent, like balls, though. I don't think they're discs. I believe they are a round ball. The moon especially. The moon just has the characteristics of a round ball. So anyways, this is what I want to get to, because I was looking at the sky the other night with my telescope, and some observations that really made me kind of come to this conclusion until I can find something better, or something better comes along. Alright, the way the phases work, or at least the way the phases can be observed, okay? We observe that when the sun and the moon, okay, are at 6 and 12 on a clock, okay? Right? 12 and 6 on a clock, we get a full moon. That's when we get a full moon, okay? And by the way, if you zoom in, you can actually see the flag on the moon. You can see the footprints. I can even see the Jeep right here. Right? So, I mean, you can actually see those things. So, I did a really good job, proving that, I mean, these guys right here, would these guys lie to you about this? Would these guys, I mean, look at this guy in the middle right here. Does he look like somebody that's fucking gonna tell you a fib? Come on. Yes, that is my version of Jimi Hendrix Voodoo Child. Okay, anyways. Okay. This can be observed, okay? The only time that you can really observe the two in the sky at the same time with this happening is the summer solstice, right during and after, and right around the summer solstice, when it's making its smallest circles above our flat Earth, right? When the sun and the moon are making their smallest circles above our flat Earth, right? So, the sun, you can look at it either way you want. The moon moves 12 degrees slower, or the sun moves 12 degrees, faster. So tomorrow at 8 in the morning or whatever time, you point to the moon and you say, tomorrow at this time, the same exact time, the moon will be 12 degrees to the east. Rising in the east and setting in the west, right? So that's why I have this drawn out like this, because the sun moves faster than the moon. They follow similar paths, but I believe that the sun is actually lower in the sky than the moon is at all times. And I believe that is simply where the shadow that gets thrown on the moon is. I believe it is a shadow of the ball itself. I'm not going to get into it right now, but this can be observed as the sun passes the moon. You know what I mean? Like the closer it gets, the closer the sun gets to the moon, the smaller and smaller it is. So, depending upon what side this is, and depending upon what hemiplane, where on the hemiplane you live, you'll be able to. The shiny white part will always be facing the sun. That's the point. So, if the sun's coming up on it, this is what you're gonna have until it passes by, and then you'll get the full moon again. And then, of course, the sun, every day it's 12 degrees, going to be 12 degrees ahead of the moon. So it starts all over again, okay? So this is what happens, right? We know this. This can at least be observed. We don't know exactly what it is. Maybe there's a third body up there. I honestly think it's just as simple as light shining up on a round surface, and you're just getting a certain degree of shadow. Because, it is literally like clockwork, okay? So, I've been looking at Venus in my telescope. And what I've been noticing now, and this is for, a few weeks now, although I don't always have Venus in my sights at night, because it is definitely a wandering star, and I don't have the patterns at all figured out what it does. I just know that when I stand on my back porch and I look over to the east, where I have, the sun has already gone down in the horizon, just the other night, I want to say 5 days ago, this is what I had. This is exactly what I had between the moon and Venus. Now, I've seen this before. Now, tonight I just went out there. Now, of course, the moon's not in the sky. The moon was already in the sky today, so she's gone. But Venus was right around the same spot, because, I was asking myself, how is it still in a phase? Every time I look at it, it seems to be right around the same size. And just thinking about how it's similar to the moon, and thinking about how the moon will go through its phases, quickly. There's every day, there's a defined amount, and it's whatever the distance is that 12 degrees will get you, depending upon, what size circle it's making, what time of year, okay? But, so what I was saying to myself was, it can't be, or it probably isn't a third body up there, okay? And the reason I'm saying is because the other night, these two, the angles were the same, just to suggest that it was shadow being cast from the same light source, so because I keep seeing Venus in this same area, and when I see it in this area, I look at it through the telescope and it looks the same way. It looks just like the moon would be if the moon was at that position, You know, and I mean, I've been studying the sky every single night since I've got into the flat Earth. So I got these patterns down. So it's just like I'm just deducing things, you know, just through just deducing what it could and couldn't be, or what it is more likely and more likely, not. So that's really what I think it is. And what's interesting is I've seen a couple of depictions of flat Earth. I'm not sure if it was one of those like 80s. It was either Weird Science or it was the Eurythmics maybe. But it was very, very interesting. It showed some lady with a, straight up 80s hairstyle. Okay. She was standing next to this. She was standing next to a squared circle. It was a dome, but it was squared, right? You could see these circular lines, right? And then what you saw clearly was two lights, a sun and a moon. But the sun, the moon was higher than the sun, like clearly, right? Now, why do I bring that up? I bring it up because anything like stuff that they were putting in movies to give clues, especially as far back as the 80s, I think that was an accurate depiction, like that right there, what they showed, because obviously somebody took a little bit of time, it took a little bit of time to build this model, and it's like, why? For what purpose? As part of the set, but as far as telling the story, it probably had nothing to do with the story. It was just there, and the thing was obviously built, not only that, there was special effects in it, unless they had a couple of little light bulbs in there, which they might have. If not, then there was even some special effects added. I'm just saying, some time was spent, right? But yeah, that's where I'm going with this. I'm just saying that I don't doubt that the moon's light is cold. I don't doubt that the moon does do its own thing. I believe it is an equal and an exact opposite of our sun. I just think that the phases, for the most part, are literally just shadows based upon their positions because of, for one, how consistent they are. But just being able to see Venus being in the same area, it's been in the same area, and it does take such a weird trajectory, and I haven't been able to keep much track of it because it disappeared. I'll see it, and usually this is where I see it. So it disappears, fairly quickly, and then that's it for me as far as being able to see what it's doing. But some nights it's there, other nights it's just not there. And I know that they're on weird paths. I know they seem to be on these paths where they do this spiral or whatever, which they used to, when they say the planet is in retrograde, really what they're saying is that it's actually if you were I guess at the front of the spiral, that that stupid spiral they show with the sun and the earth and everything traveling around the sun going in a spiral. They say that you see a planet and then looking back at it, it looks like it's just it actually looks like it's going the other way, but it's really just doing the loop. I don't know, the way they explain it, it actually is something that would make sense if it was a ball and that was what you were observing. We don't know. We just know that there's stars that are fixed and then there's wandering stars. But yeah, that's I think that's really all I gotta say. Is just I believe most eclipses are caused when these two bodies pass over or under each other, right? I think that the moon is higher than the sun. Or at least it's right there on the same level. Maybe it's just a very small amount higher than the sun. So, yeah, I mean, there are eclipses that happen where there's like a lunar eclipse and the sun's off in the sky, and what could that be? I mean, there's something to be said about that. What exactly is that? So, I mean, we still don't know. There are things that just we can't explain. I'm just going with the things that I can observe, and this I know. 6 and 12 on a clock, that's when we get full moon. That's always only when we get full moon. Now, depending upon what time of the year it is, there's still going to be 6 and 12 on a clock. It's just going to depend upon, whether it's going to be a full moon at night and you don't see the sun at all because it's dead of winter and they're making their largest circles. You got me. But anyways, I guess I'm starting to ramble. This here is a future diagram for presentation I'd like to do on air currents. I do have a couple of my style drawings here for tides, right? I don't know if you can get an idea out of that. We got a little whirlpool there, and these are large bodies of water that somehow would have to be connected to this area where don't they say that it's just all frozen ice? They say it's all water. Or that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe that's Antarctica that they say that about. I don't know. Either way, lies with a little bit of truth. But anyhow, peace to all. Hit me up in the comments. Tell me how much of an idiot I am. We're speculating. I'm doing some speculations based on my observations. And if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. And if you don't like it, I will stamp this right on your forehead. Somebody needs to take one of these and stamp it right on Neil deGrasse Tyson's forehead. Right in Joe Rogan's eye. Like, here you go there, Rogie. Alright, peace.